It took a former Blue Peter presenter to bring ghosts into reality television and give them the exposure they'd been demanding since the days of Quatermass.
I know this is a little bit silly, but the object of being frightened is not knowing quite what's going to happen.
Yvette Fielding was entertaining friends at home when she received a visit from the ghost of television yet to come.
It was bizarre. It was just a colleague came to our house one weekend and he was discussing this house, this big, massive priory. And he said, oh, you know, if ever you want any filming done there, the guy, you know, will sort of rent this place out for free. And as he was leaving, he said, oh, by the way, it's got 13 ghosts. And my husband and I, me and Carl, we looked at each other and we sat up till 5 o'clock in the morning. I do not know why, but there was this buzz, there was this real energy, and we were so convinced that this programme with night vision cameras and a camera crew spending the night in a haunted house would work.
Terrestrial television was still a little afraid of ghosts, but by a spooky coincidence, the industry had just been deregulated, creating hundreds of new channels. No longer would we complain there was nothing on the other side. The ghosts would enter our homes by cable and satellite.
When I arrived at Living TV, I knew that this was an area that fascinated the target audience. What I didn't know was that it would just explode into this phenomena. And I think it exploded for two reasons. One is there are a lot of people in this world who absolutely believe in the paranormal. Now, I also know there's an awful lot of people who enjoyed watching those programmes purely for entertainment reasons only, and they got a lot of pleasure out of watching them. Not for the same reasons, but for a completely different reason. There's nothing wrong with that. The two groups live side by side, and that is why shows like Most Haunted have become part of the psyche.
The Dead made Living TV a success, and Yvette's show a broadcasting phenomenon.
Most Haunted to me is the definition of a guilty pleasure. I feel slightly, I've got that my favourite band's too popular feeling now, because I was there from the beginning and now everybody watches it. But I used to watch it absolutely open-mouthed.
Everybody loves watching someone being terrified. And when you're sat at home and you're watching close-ups in night vision of someone's face, you know, and then screaming and running.
A young woman who's just floated. Holy moly.
What is that?
I want to go on Most Haunted. They put the night vision on. Yvette goes, "What was that?" As she always does, because she's just made up a sound. And then I just want to pull out a blackboard rubber and go, look, orbs. It's dust. It's just dust, people. How can they get away with that every week?
Oh, David! Sorry, something just shoved me.
What?
It was like someone, I know I'm on a slope, but it's like something was pushing me.
Most Haunted is a genuine investigation. It isn't, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, it isn't a TV show for entertainment purposes, which is, funny enough, what Ofcom say it is, which actually we disagree with. It's a genuine investigation. Everything that you see on that show is genuine. It's not faked, it's not, you know, put on for the television cameras.
Oh!
Wow! That's amazing!
It's not for me or a television channel to say, this is right, this is wrong, you know, ghosts exist, ghosts don't exist. My stance always was, what do you believe? You know, you are the audience, you're adult, you can make up your own mind. We'll present evidence, you decide.
Please welcome, live on stage, world-famous clairvoyant psychic, Derren, Acorah.
Bless you, thank you.
Whatever the truth, Most Haunted led to an explosion in psychic activity across Britain, with a new wave of TV mediums like Colin Fry and Derek Acorah.
I did a report on this for The Culture Show and went to meet Derek Acorah and went to see one of his shows. What was really interesting was that, to me, it seemed as though most of his, we could call them guesses, about the lives of these people in the audience were wrong. I then went and found some of those people who we'd talked to, and they said, oh, but he got everything right. It was so accurate.
Is there someone connected to Helen Roberts?
Can it be damaging to a person, a relationship with a medium who...
Not with the medium who practices the codes. If anything, it's more beneficial.
It puts you in a tremendous position of power over these people, doesn't it?
Not power over them.
Well...
A responsibility. And I adhere to spiritual codes in that responsibility. Don't look into the graves, because the loved ones don't exist there. They come in around you. Good night and God bless, and I hope we see you again.
But some people claim to get even better results without any help from ghosts.
So the person that you're thinking of, it's a lady, isn't it? Yeah. And this is somebody who died when they were fairly old, I think. And when you think about it, something about flowers? What's that? Yeah. Something. Did she collect flowers?
She was the owner of a flower shop.
She owned a flower shop. That's really
what Derren Brown is doing, which is to, first of all, create fantastic entertainment, far better entertainment than the psychic television shows, which are saying they are psychics, and then at the end reveal, and this is how it was done, and this is how you've become confused, and these are the tricks of, well, the show's called The Tricks of the Mind.
It was your grandmother, yes? Yeah. And her name is Laura, or Nora? Noreen? Nora.
Yeah, Nora.
Then in 2005, he caused a sensation by conducting a séance on Channel 4.
Right, so what you've just seen there...
The idea for séance probably came mostly from Ghostwatch, which I'd been a big fan of. I think it was that idea of doing something that would sort of cross that idea of real and not real was a huge appeal. Plus just loving the whole idea of séances and Victorian mediums and all that. It's always been a big passion. And was to see, whether or not those techniques would work on a modern, presumably sceptical audience. Which they did, as it turned out.
I'm not sure about this why do we like to be scared question. Some people will tell you it's cathartic and we like to be scared if it's safe. And some people say it just goes beyond even that. We just do in the way we like to laugh. That being terrified, is what makes us feel alive.
Keep the circle unbroken. Keep the circle unbroken.
It was astonishing how frightened, and it wasn't, by no means was it just the girls, it was the men as well, screaming and shouting, and particularly by the time we got to the end sequence, which was the actual séance itself in the dark, they didn't imagine the level of abject terror that came out of it.
Even in the 21st century, it seems ghosts still have the power not just to scare, but to offend.
I was a little surprised by the reaction, because it was the first time I'd done something that was controversial for sort of religious people and so on. There were a huge amount of complaints for it. At the time, it was the most complained about show in TV history, which then got swamped by Jerry Springer at the opera sometime after that.